Welcome to Rapid Fire Crypto Rundown. Today's Milk Road is, it's packed. You don't want to miss this. We've got some major shakeups in U.S. crypto regulation with Trump back in the White House.
Wow.
Plus, a fascinating look at something called superchains.
Oh.
Okay, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
The regulatory landscape is definitely shifting. This
Yeah.
new wave of appointments with so many crypto bulls. It's quite a surprise.
Right. Milk Road highlights 7 new positions filled.
Wow.
And honestly, some of them are pretty wild, like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy
Oh, yeah?
heading the Department of Government Efficiency.
What?
They even call it DOGE for short.
Oh, my God.
Come on, you gotta love that.
It's certainly an interesting way to signal a change in direction. But humor aside,
Yeah.
2 appointments stand out as potentially game-changing for the crypto industry. Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary
Okay.
and Paul Atkins as SEC Chair.
Mhm.
These are the folks who could really shape how crypto is regulated in the U.S.
Okay, so let's break those down.
Okay.
Starting with Scott Bessent at the Treasury.
All right.
The newsletter makes a big deal about him being pro-crypto,
Yeah.
especially compared to Janet Yellen.
Uh-huh.
What kind of impact could that have?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
The Treasury Secretary oversees the entire financial system.
Right.
Bessent has openly advocated for using blockchain technology
Yeah.
to modernize financial infrastructure.
Interesting.
We could see a real push
Yeah.
for crypto rails becoming part of the mainstream financial world.
So, like, actually using crypto to move money around?
Exactly.
That's pretty radical.
It is.
The newsletter also mentioned something about a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
It's a fascinating concept. Essentially,
Yeah.
the idea is to use Bitcoin as a way to manage public debt,
Mm-mm.
kind of like how countries hold gold reserves.
Okay.
It's a sign that some folks in government are starting to see Bitcoin as a legitimate asset, not just some fringe internet money.
Okay. I'm starting to see why people are excited about this guy.
Yeah.
But what about Paul Atkins? As SEC chair, Milk Road paints him as
Right.
the anti-Gary Gensler.
Oh, really?
You know, the SEC chair who everyone thought was pro-crypto, but turned out to be not so much.
Right.
What do we know about Atkins?
Atkins has a long history of supporting the crypto industry. He even co-chaired the Token Alliance at the Digital Chamber of Commerce.
Interesting.
This is a stark contrast to
Yeah.
Gensler's approach,
I can imagine.
which many saw as unpredictable
Yeah.
and at times even hostile towards crypto.
So is this like a crypto spring in Washington?
Maybe.
We got to see a flood of pro-crypto regulations.
I wouldn't get ahead of ourselves just yet. While these appointments are definitely positive signs,
True.
we need to wait and see how things play out.
Yeah.
But the next 4 years could be very interesting
For sure.
for crypto in the U.S., that's for sure.
No doubt.
Hmm.
This is definitely something we need to keep a close eye on. But, you know, keeping track of everything in crypto
That's a lot.
can be tough. There's always something new popping up.
Always.
And speaking of new things,
Uh-huh.
have you heard about superchains? The sheer number of layer 2 chains in the Ethereum ecosystem
Oh, yeah.
is mind-boggling.
It can be overwhelming, absolutely. But that's where superchains come in. They offer a way to simplify this complex landscape,
Okay.
kind of like organizing a messy drawer.
Before we get into that,
Sure.
let me just remind everyone to subscribe to Milk Road using the link in the description. You don't want to miss out on their daily dose of crypto insights. Okay, back to superchains. What are they exactly? And how do they help make sense of all these L2s?
Imagine this. You have a country with different states, right?
Okay.
Each state has its own unique characteristics
Yeah.
and attracts different businesses.
Right.
Think of the states as superchains
Okay.
and the businesses as the various L2 chains operating within them.
Okay, I'm following so far. But how does this state analogy actually apply to crypto?
Well, Milk Road uses a great example.
Okay.
The California Gold Rush.
Interesting.
The gold rush itself brought a lot of attention and activity to
Yeah.
California,
Sure.
but it was the businesses that sprang up afterward that really drove lasting growth.
Makes sense.
Companies like Wells Fargo and Levi's,
Yeah.
they were born out of that initial boom,
Right.
and they went on to become major players
Yeah.
in the California economy.
So you're saying that instead of trying to pick individual gold mines or L2 winners,
Right.
it's smarter to focus on the states themselves.
Exactly.
The super chains
Yeah.
where all this activity is happening.
Each super chain has its own strengths and attracts different kinds of projects, and users.
Got it.
By understanding the dynamics of these superchains,
Right.
you gain a clearer perspective on the overall L2 landscape without getting lost in the weeds.
That's a really helpful way to think about it. So which superchains should we be paying attention to?
Milk Road highlights 4 main players. Polygon on Arbitrum Orbit, Optimism Superchain, and zk-Sync Elastic Chain.
Wow, this is fascinating. I'm already starting to feel less overwhelmed by the whole L2 situation.
Good.
So we've got these 4 superchains to explore. Polygon, Arbitrum Orbit, Optimism Superchain, and zk-Sync Elastic Chain. Where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with Polygon.
Oh.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah.
They have a wide range of applications, and they've already proven themselves as a major player in the L2 space.
Yeah, Polygon is definitely a big name. I've heard a lot about their focus on making Ethereum more scalable and user-friendly. But what about Arbitrum Orbit? Milk Road mentioned something about them being developer-friendly. What does that even mean?
It means Arbitrum has focused on creating tools and resources that make it easier for developers to build and deploy their applications on their platform.
Right.
They want to attract the best and brightest minds in the blockchain space.
So they're trying to become the go-to platform for building the next generation of dApps. Clever. But what about Optimism and zk-Sync? They seem a little more under the radar.
True, but they're both doing some very interesting things. Optimism has this cool focus on community ownership and retroactive public goods funding. Basically, they're rewarding developers who build projects that benefit the entire ecosystem.
That's awesome. Kind of like a build it and they will fund approach.
Yeah.
Like it. And what about zk-Sync? They're the ones using zero-knowledge proofs, right?
Yes. Zero-knowledge proofs are a fascinating technology that allows you to prove something is true without revealing the actual information.
Oh.
This is huge for both scalability and privacy. With zk-Sync, you can process transactions much faster and with a higher level of privacy than traditional blockchains.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. Zero-knowledge proofs sound like something out of a sci-fi movie. So we've got these 4 superchains, each with its own unique strengths and approach. It sounds like there's no clear winner just yet.
Exactly. It's still early days, and the superchain landscape is constantly evolving. Each one is vying for dominance, but it's more like a collaborative competition, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like they're all pushing each other to innovate and build the best possible platforms. So how do we even begin to evaluate which superchain might come out on top?
Well, there are a few key factors to consider. First, look at adoption. Which superchain is attracting the most developers, projects, and users?
Right.
Then, consider the technology itself. Is it scalable, secure, and efficient?
Okay.
And of course, don't underestimate the power of community. A strong and engaged community can be a major asset for any superchain.
That makes sense. It's like evaluating any new technology or platform. You want to see who's using it, how well it works, and whether there's a community supporting it. This whole superchain thing is starting to click for me now.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Milk Road does a fantastic job of breaking down these complex topics and keeping you up to date on all the latest developments.
Right. Speaking of Milk Road, let me just remind everyone to subscribe using the link in the description. You don't want to miss their daily dose of crypto wisdom.
Yeah.
Now, where were we? Yes, superchains. It's amazing to think that these platforms are shaping the future of the Ethereum ecosystem and maybe even the entire crypto landscape.
Absolutely. As this technology continues to evolve, it's crucial to stay informed and adapt our understanding. Don't be afraid to dive deeper into each superchain, explore their projects, and engage with their communities. You might just discover the next big thing in crypto.
And on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Let's recap what we've learned. First, we had the surprising news of a potential pro-crypto shift in Washington with the new Trump administration and key appointments like Scott Bessent and Paul Atkins.
Right. And then we dove into the fascinating world of superchains, exploring how these 4 major players, Polygon, Arbitrum Orbit, Optimism Superchain, and zk-Sync Elastic Chain, are simplifying the Layer 2 landscape and shaping the future of Ethereum.
This has been an incredible deep dive, and I feel like we've gained some seriously valuable insights today.
I agree. And it just goes to show the crypto world never stops evolving, which is why resources like Milk Road are so valuable.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up completely, I have one final question for you, dear listener, and for you too, expert speaker. Out of these 4 superchains we discussed, which one do you think is most likely to succeed? And why?
That's a tough one. It's like picking a favorite child.
Right.
They all have such unique strengths.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, though,
Okay.
I'd say keep a close eye on Polygon.
Okay.
They have a solid track record, it's a diverse range of applications, and they're constantly innovating.
It's an interesting pick. I'm kind of drawn to optimism and their community-driven approach. That retroactive public goods funding thing is really cool. But honestly, it's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah.
The crypto space is full of surprises.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic and ever-evolving landscape. That's what makes it so exciting. The best we can do is stay informed, do our research, and maybe even take a few calculated risks along the way.
Yeah, for sure. So to our listener, I encourage you to take what we've talked about today and dive deeper into these superchains. Explore their projects, engage with their communities, and see which one resonates most with you.
Yeah, great idea. And remember, the more you understand about this evolving ecosystem,
Right.
the better equipped you'll be to navigate it and make informed decisions.
Well said. And well, last time, for good measure, don't forget to subscribe to Milk Road using the link in the description. They make staying on top of the crypto world so much easier. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep riding that crypto wave.